What's up? Today I'm going to take you through a mobility routine that's all about rotation. So whenever we have back pain or any stiffness through the back or the hips, it's easy to neglect rotation. When we add more kind of rotational mobility exercises into our daily routine, a lot of the time we see improvements. So rotating is a really nice way to nourish the discs, to wring out some of that tension and free things up. It can also help us think about moving our spine and our hips in slightly different ways that we've maybe not explored before. So we can create new movement maps that maybe don't cause us any pain or discomfort, allow us to move a little bit more efficiently. So that's what I'm going to take you through today. Some new novel movements that you've maybe not seen before, your body hasn't experienced. So no equipment required, just follow along. Yeah, let's go to the beach. So we're going to start things off with some basic rotation at the neck. Just follow along with me, give it a go, take it nice and slow. So we're trying to keep the head nice and tall, and then we're just slowly rotating through the neck, looking from side to side. So nothing complicated, trying to keep your shoulders nice and relaxed, back and down, and just, yeah, going from side to side. If you feel any tight spots, you might want to extend a little bit further into that. Just take your time. And then going to move into some lateral shifts. So this one might feel a little bit strange if you've never done it before. You see on my left side I've got a little bit more range of motion than the right. What we're trying to do is keep our eyes parallel with the horizon, trying not to tilt the head. So a mirror can be really useful for this one. And we're just kind of gliding the neck from side to side. So no sort of tilting of the head, just going along that horizontal plane ideally. We'll then move on to that forward glide. So similar idea, we're just gliding forwards and backwards with this one. Thinking about extending from kind of the base of the neck, so we're not just playing around with the skull and just extending from there. And you're trying to give yourself a big double chin and then reach out like a turtle. I'm going to combine these movements together now. So we can do it slowly to start with, like I'm doing here. So extending forward, then to the side, then back, and to the other side. Then we can slowly start to make things a little bit more fluid, putting it together into a full circle. So you can start going one way and just do 10 circles that way. So we're reaching out and trying to almost draw a horizontal circle with our nose, so a circle that's on the same plane as the floor. So we're reaching out and just extending through the neck as wide as we can. So we're loosening up through the traps, through the shoulders, trying to keep the shoulders nice and still. And again, same on the other side. Trying to keep those eyes level. I'm wobbling a little bit here because I don't have a mirror, but if you've got a mirror, that's really comes in handy. You look a bit silly doing this, a bit Michael Jackson-y, but it's a really good one for opening up the neck. So getting a few more circles, and then we will move down onto the thoracic spine, one of my favourites. So with the mid-back, we're going to start with some basic rotations. So I put the hands in this kind of prayer position, not just because I think it looks cool, but it helps to keep the shoulders kind of stacked, and it means if I keep the prayer hands in the center of my body, then I'm rotating more through the mid-back and not just through the shoulders. So trying to keep the core on a little bit, trying not to rotate too much through the lower back and through the neck. Try and focus your attention on the mid-back. So you're opening up through the ribs a little bit. Try some deeper breaths at the end range as well if you want to play with extending that. But yeah, just greasing the groove, moving through that range of motion that we often neglect. You might get a few cracks and pops, but as long as you're not in pain, we're all good. So this is another weird lateral shift one. So we're trying to keep our pelvis pretty still, and we're trying not to rotate. We're moving as if we're between two panes of glass, and we're just trying to concentrate that movement on the upper back or the mid back. So it's just shifting from side to side. So I keep my hands on my torso. Ideally that top hand is kind of shifting and the lower hand is sort of staying still. That doesn't necessarily mean there's going to be a lot of movement, but just that subtle shift from side to side. Now we're going to basic flexion and extension through the mid back too. It's kind of like a standing cat-cow. So we're trying to just extend through the chest, and then we're rounded through the back. Trying not to again compensate through the lower back too much or the neck. Trying to focus all that attention on the mid back if we can. It's quite a nice one for opening things up, helping us with that kind of thoracic extension. So we're going to combine those movements again now. Familiar theme coming. So we're shifting to the side, kind of hollowing out, shifting to the other side, and then extending forward. And then we can kind of make this a little bit more circular. So just start really slow. I may be going a little too fast on here. Just take things at your own pace. Use that mirror and try and keep things as focused as you can around the thoracic area. And there's certain planes, certain ways of moving are going to come more naturally to you. If you can slow things down, then that's going to help. You're going to find novel ways to move. You're going to free things up that are really tight and holding you back. To shake things out and switch it up to the other way. Again, with any of these movements, you can spend longer than I'm spending on them now. And if there's one in particular you feel like you're struggling with, you're probably not going to pick these up perfectly first time, but just give it your best and keep practicing. I'm quite stiff through here at the moment because I've had some issues with my ribs, so this isn't perfect technique by any means. But yeah, just working with what you got at the moment. On to the hips. Start with some basic rotations through the hips. So you can see I'm turning on the ball of my foot as I'm rotating, bringing the arms into it a little bit. So I'm trying not to rotate too much through the lower back, trying to focus it on internally, externally rotating through the hips. It's a good transfer over to lots of different sports, martial arts, football, surfing, whatever you love. This time we are going to laterally shift a little bit. So the hips are kind of shifting out to the side as we're reaching up and opening up the side of the body. It's a really nice stretch, this one. We often get quite matted down in those tissues on the side body and don't necessarily address them that often. Same with the tissues on the outside of the hip, so I really like these. Feel free to take it a little bit slower than I have here, a little bit rushed. So you can extend that range of motion as well a bit further. If you want to take the legs a little bit further and add a bit more of a twist to it and bring the neck in, that's fine too. Nice big deep breaths, nice and relaxed. Again, trying to stay in those two planes of glass. Just do some simple hip hinging now. So flexion, extension of the hips. Trying to keep quite solid through the core. Try not to flare the ribs too much. I got the shoulders back and down here in this kind of chickeny position. And then we're just sitting back with the hips as if we're going to sit on a chair, and then we get that little bend with the knees as well. Probably sit back a little bit further than I was here. A bit of a stretch on the hamstrings as you're going back, and then engaging those glutes as you squeeze up. So now, as you might expect, we're going to do kind of a rotation. You do it slowly at first, and then we're going to bring it into some nice disco dancing hip circles. So feeling that nice stretch on the hamstrings and the groin as you sit the hips back, and then engage in the glutes as you come forward, trying to make the circles as large as possible. So keeping your core on, so you're not placing too much strain on the low back. We're just trying to exaggerate those circles, really open things up. It's a really nice one before anything hip related. So we're going to do the other side as well. About 10 circles or so is quite a nice number to warm things up and get things nice and loose. It's a good one for stabilizing through the knees a little bit as well. So when we're more mobile through the hips, our knees take less of the brunt of the force whenever we're doing anything active. So it tends to be a little bit healthier. It's a good one for the dance floor as well. So now it is time to integrate. What we're going to do is 3 circles on the neck in one direction, flow in seamlessly, not so seamlessly in my case, into 3 circles through the thoracic, flow in into 3 circles in the hips. Then once we've completed those hip circles, we're going to reverse the motion, do 3 circles the other way. Then we're going to go up into the thoracic. Not very smooth there, but trying to make it as smooth as possible. And then finally up into the neck. So I suggest you play around with that, just different variations of it. You might do 1 circle, you might do 2 or 3, and just keep practicing. I hope you enjoyed the routine. If you did, let me know in the comment section below. Give it a thumbs up to show your support, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you want more content like this. We cover everything related to movement and mobility, nutrition, wellness, adventure, and yeah, everything in between. Have a healthy day. Give it a share with your buddies if you think they might enjoy it. And yeah, catch you next time.